It is really exhausting and defeating to spend real time, effort, and money into fixing your hip and lower back pain and yet have no clear answer for what is going on. That was my experience too. Finding the pattern that was driving the pain was the first step that has changed everything for me. In this video, I want to show you exactly how to do that. Hello and welcome. My name is Ira. I'm a movement coach and yoga teacher who helps people with persistent hip and lower back pain to find long lasting relief, move confidently again, and get back to the life they love. Finding the pattern is actually step one out of 3 steps to long lasting relief. And before we dive into it, let me walk you through the full picture first. Step one is about getting clarity on what is driving the pain. And it is not just physical, it could be the way you move, your habits, your stress, or the thoughts you carry around movement. And that clarity is the foundation. Because when we know what we're working with, every step forward has a purpose. The second step is breaking the pattern. Once we know what has been contributing to the pain, we can come up with a strategy to teach the body and the nerve system a new way of moving, one that supports the body rather than strains. Gradually, the body will shift out of the pain cycle and begin to rediscover what it is capable of. The third step is integration, bringing that new way of moving into daily life until it becomes second nature. Because lasting change is not what just happened in a session, it is what happens in everything you do after. So, where do we start? If something you tried gave you relief, even just temporarily, this is valuable information. It tells you that part of the pattern responded to that approach. And that is a clue worth keeping. And if the pain keeps coming back, it means that there are more layers still to uncover. And here is the 4 layer model I use to find them. The first layer is breathing. It sounds very simple, but the way we breathe has constant influence on the whole body, and it is one of the most overlooked pieces of the puzzle. The primary muscle responsible for breathing is the diaphragm. It is the largest flat muscle in the body, and on the inhale, it moves downward, creating space for the lung to expand, and on the exhale, it moves back up. When we breathe deeply and fully, it sends a signal to the cerebral brain that we are safe. The nerve system settles, the body releases tension, and a full functional body is not just one that knows how to move. It is also one that knows how to fully relax. When the breathing is shallow and fast, the opposite happens. The body receives less oxygen and the nerve system stays on alert, causing the body to hold tension without us even realize it. And the tension can block certain muscles from working well and limit our ability to move freely. To check in with your own breathing, you can put one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. Breathe naturally without changing anything. And as you inhale, if you feel the hands on the belly rises, followed by the hand on the chest rises, then your diaphragm is engaging well. However, if you don't feel much on the belly and you feel a lot on the chest, then your diaphragm is probably not working as well as it could be because it is not descending much as it inhales. That is useful information too because it tells you how your system is currently working. Breathing, muscle engagement, and body structure are all in constant conversation with each other, and it goes both ways. Nothing in the body works in isolation. The second layer is structure and movement, and these two are deeply connected. It is the muscle that keeps the bone in position. So when we are looking for long-term relief, we work on the muscles that supports the alignment of the structure. Here is a reference image of ideal alignment. From the front, the knee sits on top of the heel and the hip joint sits on top of the knee. From the side, the heel, knee, hip joint, and shoulder all falls on the same line. So this is the theoretical model that shows how the body can distribute weight most efficiently. This is only a guide to help us find clues, not a goal to achieve, because we all have individual bone variations, and not everyone who looks different from this reference will end up in pain or dysfunctional movement. To check your structure, take a photo of yourself from the front and the side. standing naturally. From the front, notice whether a hip sits higher than the other one, or it shifts to one side. From the side, notice whether the hip sits more forward or more backward. Make a note of what you find. This is not a diagnose, it is a clue about where to look further. If you would like to go deeper into understanding your structure, here is a free guide linked in the description. It is focused specifically on helping you access your own structure in more detail. To understand better, we need to look at how you move as well. One of the most common contributor to hip and lower back pain is the imbalance of the glute and the core. When these are not doing their job, the body will use other parts to finish the movement instead. And that compensation is where the strain builds up. Let's do a quick squat check together and find a place to follow along. During the process, if you have any discomfort, please stop. Now let's set your foot hip distance apart and ideally parallel to each other. And let's go ahead and do a couple of squats like you would normally do. So a squat looks like this. And as you squat down, my first question is to pay attention to the top three areas that is working the hardest for you to perform this movement. And if you need, write them down. My second question is as you go down, pay attention to your knee position. Are they collapsing inward like this? Or you can keep them open like this. The third question is to pay attention to the position of your lower back. You probably need a mirror to see the side view or record yourself. And from the side, pay attention to the curve of your lower back. A healthy lower back has a natural curve. And as you move, see if this curve remains unchanged. Or you may over arc it to squat down. And another possibility is the opposite. As you squat down, the curve is getting less, it's getting flattened. This is a very basic check. When I work with private clients, we always start here, observing structure, watching how the body moves, and build a plan around what we find. If that kind of personalized support interests you, the link to work with me is in the description. The third layer is mind and emotion, especially how you show up around movement. This is the layer most people never think to look at because it is invisible. But in my experience, it is often the one that creates the most significant impact on the body if we do not address it. Research shows that anxiety and fearful thoughts have real and measurable influence on how we experience pain. When we're under fear and anxiety, the nerve system will become more alert and reactive. And the same sensation can feel much more intense than it would in a calmer state. This is not imagined. This is a biological response. When we move with thoughts like, am I doing this right? Or what if I make this worse? The survival brain will pick up that anxiety and reads it as a real threat. It keeps the body on high alert, tenses the muscle, and prepares to protect. Under those circumstances, even a movement that could be beneficial loses its most effect because the body is guarding right now. Many clients come to me having already been given the same movement by another professional, but it did not help. When I asked what they were thinking while doing the movement, the answer was almost always some sort of, I hope this doesn't hurt, or I'm afraid of hurting myself even more. That anticipation alone is enough to keep the body guarded. When I look deeper, it is rarely the movement that is the problem. It is the mind and emotion quietly blocking the benefit. So take a moment to reflect when you move, or imagine doing a movement that has caused pain before. What comes up? Is there anxiety or a sense of bracing before you even begin? And simply notice what is there without judging yourself. Because being aware of what is happening is already the first step towards change. The fourth layer is lifestyle, especially stress and habits. Most of our time we spend outside of sessions. And if what we practice in a session cannot carry forward into our daily life, the impact is not going to last. We cannot simply say stress is bad. A healthy amount of stress actually makes the body stronger. The concern is when the body is under stress for a long period of time without a chance to rest. In that state, the nerve system stays on high alert, the muscle stays tense, and the pain signal can get amplified. The hip and the lower back area in particular tends to be where the body holds a lot of this tension, which is why stress and pain in this area are more connected than most people realize. The goal is not to eliminate stress. It is to become aware of when we are under stress and know how to bring the body back to rest when it is over. Habits are not inherently good or bad without contest, but when a body stays in one position or repeat one pattern for a long period without variety, it starts to adapt to that shape. A taller person who constantly has to slouch to work at a counter, or someone who is right handed and rely on that side for most tasks. The pattern itself is not wrong because the body is meant to slouch when needed, like passing through a doorway that is too low. But when the body does most things in that position day after day, it can contribute to stiffness, lost functionality, or pain. So reflect on both. Think back to a couple of times when you're in pain. What is your stress level like at that time? And look at your daily habits. Is there a repetitive pattern that might be quietly contributing? Those answers are part of your pattern too. Now that you have some clues to help you find the hidden pattern that may be contributing to your pain, what do you do with this knowledge? In the next video, I'll walk you through step 2 in detail, breaking the pattern. And there are many ways of doing it. And knowing which entry point is right for your body makes all the difference. See you in the next one.